Episode 21, Fake Heiress, Real Mistress. Who doesn't have some dirt? After returning to her room, Ningxi suddenly remembered an extremely important matter. After exposing that video last night, she had no idea how things had developed afterward. Blame it on Jiong. That guy had been causing trouble for her since he returned to the country. Ningxi opened her computer and quickly browsed all the related information. The video of Jia Qingqing NGing 33 times last night quickly became the hottest topic. The comments below were filled with curses, and surprisingly, Ningxi's unexpectedly excellent acting skills received unanimous praise. Soon, everyone began to question the previous Weibo post claiming that Ningxi relied solely on sleeping around. Following that, various anonymous accounts began to expose Jia Qingqing's personal grievances, such as maliciously slapping Ningxi on the set, arrogantly bullying her assistants, and acting high-handedly to trouble the crew members. Later on, artists and crew members who usually couldn't stand Jia Qingqing directly revealed their true identities, disclosing similar experiences and completely destroying the false facade Jia Qingqing had fabricated in front of her fans. Makeup artist Amy: I used to dislike Ningxi because Jia Qingqing always targeted her. To make things difficult for Ningxi, she would often vent her anger on us crew members. Incidents like making Ningxi wait and constantly finding fault to have her makeup redone almost happened every day. At that time, I thought I was being implicated by Ningxi, so I hated her for a long time. But in reality, Ningxi did nothing wrong in this matter. I know that saying these words will definitely get someone to trouble me, but if I don't say it, my conscience won't be at ease. The day Jiongmai's fans came to the set causing trouble, if it wasn't for Ningxi using her own arm to block a stone for me, my face would have been ruined. Said assistantly, what a straightforward and outspoken person. Jia Qingqing is a domineering and arrogant cancer of the crew. She's always late and leaves early, constantly giving orders and treating us crew members like servants. I have to run dozens of errands for her every day. Am I her servant? As for Ningxi, although she usually keeps to herself and seems a bit cold, she has always been polite to us crew members. After every shoot, she thanks everyone, even though we didn't respond to her. She still does it every time. Director's assistant: people talk behind her back, but I still want to speak fairly. Only on the first day of shooting did someone come to give something to Ningxi. I didn't see any ambiguous relationship between Ningxi and any man. It's normal for a beautiful woman to have admirers, and I didn't expect things to turn out like this. Photographer: Ningxi's professional qualities are absolutely outstanding. She has a great sense of presence, moves well on her own, and unless it's due to someone else's fault, she usually completes a scene in one take. So, every time I shoot her, it's the most relaxed time for me. As for Jia Qingqing, she's probably every photographer's nightmare. She's had so much plastic surgery, her nose shape is weird. She even complained that it was my poor skills. Can I give you a separate Photoshop session? Director Gui Qixing: the rumors about Ningxi being taken advantage of are completely groundless. This is not only an insult to Ningxi but also to our entire crew. Originally, I thought that when our movie was released, everyone would see Ningxi's performance, and the truth would be clear. However, the current development of the situation has seriously affected the progress of the film. Now, releasing a set of behind-the-scenes photos in advance. Everyone can take a look. Producer Wang Taiha: many people have spoken, so I'll say a few words too. I've seen many people say that the sudden increase of 50 million in investment in our film is because of a backer behind Ningxi. To clarify the rumors, I sought the consent of the investor. Now, I'll reveal his identity at Koi Little Prince. Ningxi expected that many people in the crew had reached the limit of their patience with Jia Qingqing. As long as one person spoke out, there would be a continuous stream of voices afterward. However, she didn't expect that while they were condemning Jia Qingqing, they would also praise her, which was an unexpected gain. After all, being recognized for one's efforts is a pleasant thing. Wang Taiha's Weibo post pleased her the most. She quickly clicked on the ID at Koi Little Prince to see who this investor was. In the next moment, Ningxi was left speechless. The Weibo V certification of the user named Koi Little Prince was Shengshi Entertainment's executive CEO, Lu Jingli. This guy, the dignified boss of an entertainment company, chose such a playful ID. It was like that of a teenager. Unexpectedly, the person who added additional investment turned out to be Lu Jingli. It was surprising but made sense, especially since this was the first film Jiong Mai took on after returning to the country, and Shengshi naturally provided strong support. Investing 50 million in a supporting role, Shengshi truly lived up to its reputation as the most extravagant company in the industry. After Wang Taihe's Weibo post, all doubts were resolved. Ningxi's tarnished reputation was thoroughly cleared, while Jia Qingqing was left with a bad image of being a difficult-to-work-with actress with poor acting skills. Although discerning individuals could see that Jia Qingqing was behind the scenes causing trouble for Ningxi, there was no concrete evidence. The situation had developed as Ningxi had anticipated, but what she didn't expect was an even more explosive turn of events. In the early hours of last night, Jia Qingqing's agent, Han Ning, posted on Weibo. Han Ning directly exposed the entire process of Jia Qingqing hiring online water armies to attack Ningxi, infiltrating the fan base of Jiong Mai with a hidden account to maliciously manipulate fan emotions and use fans to target Ningxi. What was even more shocking was that Han Ning revealed that Jia Qingqing was a fake heiress and a real mistress. The rumored wealthy father of Jia Qingqing was not her biological father but her sugar daddy, who already had a wife and children. Han Ying's Weibo included numerous flirtatious chat records and explicit images, making it impossible for Jia Qingqing to deny anything. At this point, the only option for Jia Qingqing was to go into hiding. As for when she could make a comeback, in the entertainment industry, where the situation changes rapidly, the possibility of her returning was almost non-existent. After Han Ning posted this Weibo, she basically ruined her own career as an agent by violating professional ethics and exposing the private life of her artist. It was unclear what kind of conflict existed between her and Jia Qingqing to push her to do such an extreme act. As the situation escalated, Starlight Entertainment tried to delete posts and topics, but they couldn't delete them fast enough. Instead, their attempts fueled more anger among the public. Therefore, in order to appease public anger, Starlight Entertainment had no choice but to release a statement, stating that they would thoroughly investigate Jia Qingqing's malicious defamation of Ningxi. As for the matter of Jia Qingqing being kept by someone, the company still did not admit it and ambiguously mentioned that they would conduct further investigations. It was evident that they were reluctant to give up on Jia Qingqing, whom they had invested heavily in. Ningxi had no scenes today and planned to rest at home for a day. However, the matter had escalated so much that she couldn't stay quiet. Just after finishing breakfast, she received a call asking her to come to the company. In the meeting room, Ning Shueluo, Chang Li, Jia Qingqing, and the Public Relations Department Director, Feng Haoyang, were present. Jia Qingqing hung her head, with dark circles under her eyes. As soon as she saw Ningxi, she stood up as if injected with chicken blood. Ningxi, you bitch. Are you satisfied now? Just wait, I won't let you off. Ningxi helplessly rubbed her ear. The lines were almost the same every time. She could practically recite them in her sleep. Shut up. Do you still think it's not chaotic enough? Feng Haoyang scolded impatiently. Though Jia Qingqing was unwilling, she could only sit down reluctantly. The man who was supposed to be her sugar daddy had disappeared after their affairs were exposed. At this moment, her fate was entirely in Feng Haoyang's hands. Sit. Feng Haoyang beckoned to Ningxi, looking hesitant, as if making some decision. At this point, Changli spoke. Ningxi, you should already know about what happened last night. I won't explain much. It's like this, later, Qingqing will issue an apology letter for defaming you. You respond and say that you were also at fault, show some magnanimity, and say that you forgive her. Ning Shueluo quickly followed up with persuasion. Junior sister Ning, I understand that you feel uncomfortable, but ultimately, you were at fault in this matter. We can't let personal grievances between you and Qingqing affect the company. The only way to handle this is to minimize the impact. Ningxi calmly looked at Ning Shueluo, who appeared to be considering the overall situation and safeguarding the company's image. She said in a soft voice, Senior sister, if I remember correctly, from start to finish, it was Jia Qingqing targeting and framing me. I always kept in mind Senior sister Chang's teachings not to bring disgrace to the company, prioritizing the company's interests. I endured silently until someone kindly from within the industry stepped forward to help me clear my name. Now, the fans and the public protesting and boycotting are mainly against the revelation that Jia Qingqing was kept as a mistress. This is clearly a case of Jia Qingqing disregarding the company's interests, sabotaging fellow artists within the company, and tarnishing the company's image, right? Does senior sister mean to say that if a mad dog chases after someone and bites them, it's the person's fault? If she were to post a Weibo forgiving Jia Qingqing, her hard-earned reputation would be ruined. To tolerate and forgive someone like Jia Qingqing in the midst of public outrage would be foolish. Ning Shueluo was nearly choked by Ning Shi's words. What kind-hearted friend? It was clear that Ning Shi was referring to the information she had leaked herself. She was truly adept at feigning innocence. Jia Qingqing, who had been quiet for a short while, was immediately triggered by Ning Shi's words. Ning Shi, who are you calling a mad dog? Clarify it for me. You? Seeing that Jia Qingqing was about to make a scene again, Feng Haoying interrupted, no need to send the apology letter. Really? Jia Qingqing's face immediately lit up. However, the next second, she heard Feng Haoying continue, Qingqing, write a statement announcing your withdrawal from the entertainment industry. What? You want me to withdraw from the entertainment industry? Why should I withdraw? I don't want to write such a thing. Jia Qingqing protested. Feng Haoying's expression turned impatient. I'm giving you face by letting you write it yourself. Don't be shameless. Didn't you say I was being kept? Many female stars in the entertainment industry are being kept, and many people become mistresses. Why do you specifically want me to withdraw from the entertainment industry? Jia Qingqing was unwilling. Because you're stupid enough to make it known to everyone. Feng Haoying retorted. What does it have to do with me? It's all because of that bitch Haning betraying me. Why don't you investigate her? Jia Qingqing refused to accept it. She has already resigned. Where do you want me to investigate her? Haning was the most easygoing agent in the entire company. Apart from her, who can tolerate your temper? You always shout at others. When her son had a high fever of 40 degrees and she wanted to take him to the hospital, you stubbornly refused to let her go. As a result, when she rushed there in the middle of the night, her son ended up in the intensive care unit and is still in critical condition. Feng Haoying recounted one incident after another. Besides Haning, he was also fed up with constantly dealing with Jia Qingqing's mess. Jia Qingqing didn't think she did anything wrong in all of this. Instead, she looked indifferent and said, didn't he survive? With a doctor present in that situation, what use would she be going there? Why did she deliberately make things difficult for me? Even at this moment, Jia Qingqing couldn't understand why the usually timid Haning would suddenly do such a thing. After divorcing her husband and with her son being sick and needing a lot of medical expenses every month, without this job, how would she support her family? She couldn't figure it out, and she couldn't guess that there would be someone like Liang Feixing personally taking action against a small fry like her. Feng Haoying pinched his brow, finally giving up on communication. Arguing with a fool was undoubtedly the most foolish thing to do. The company had invested a lot in Jia Qingqing, but this incident was destined to be irreparable. The losses, no matter how significant, could only be abandoned. Seeing that Feng Haoying had made up his mind, Jia Qingqing hurriedly clung to Ning Shueluo like a life-saving straw. Sister Shueluo, please help me. Ask Sister Chong to take me in. I promised to write an apology letter. Chongli immediately wore a horrified expression. Was she being set up by Ning Shueluo? Ning Shueluo, of course, wasn't as foolish as Jia Qingqing. She looked pained and reluctant as she said, Qingqing, it's not that I don't want to help you. You heard what Ning Shi said just now. She refuses to get involved, and besides, it's the company's decision. I can't do anything about it. From the moment this incident came to light, Ning Shueluo knew that Jia Qingqing was finished. She wanted to use the last bit of her value to drag Ning Shi down, but unfortunately, Feng Haoying had already seen through the uselessness of an apology. It might even implicate another artist in the company. In the end, Feng Haoying directly gave up on Jia Qingqing. Ning Shueluo knew that this kind of person was done for, and she couldn't waste her efforts on her anymore. Ning Shi. You wretched woman. Whore. Just wait for me. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. Jia Qingqing finally despaired and vented her full anger on Ning Shi. She was only stopped by security, called in by Feng Haoying. Ning Shi felt nothing but disdain for such a person. She could only pity her for not realizing she had been used as a pawn until now. Feng Haoying looked at Ning Shi, his expression softened a bit. Ning Shi, focus on filming this movie. If the results are good, the company will prioritize your development. However, what Shueluo said makes sense. Stay low-key and don't provoke unnecessary trouble. From Ningxi being embroiled in a scandal to completely whitewashing her image and causing Jiong to exit the entertainment industry, the entire operation of this matter seemed like a perfect crisis management. Although Feng Haoyang had always suspected someone manipulating behind the scenes, he couldn't find any flaws and could only attribute it to Ningxi's good luck. "Thank you, Director Feng. I will." Ningxi pretended to be pleasantly surprised and fearful. After leaving the meeting room, Ningxi went to the restroom, with Ning Xuelua following closely behind. Ning Xuelua crossed her arms and looked at Ningxi with a mocking expression. "Ningxi, aren't you afraid that by digging into other secrets, your own dark past will be exposed one day?" Ningxi narrowed her eyes, a hint of coldness flashing in them. Then, she turned around casually and said, "Who in this industry doesn't have some dirt? Do you not have any, Miss Ning?" Ningxi intentionally emphasized the Miss Ning title and continued with a sudden realization, "Ah. Speaking of which, I suddenly realized that the title of Fake Rich Girl, Real Mistress fits you surprisingly well. When I expose your secrets in the future, I won't even need a catchy headline, right?" Ning Xuelua was stepped on like a sore spot, and she immediately became furious. "What fake rich girl, real mistress? Since birth, I have been the only daughter acknowledged by father in the Ning family. As for Su Yan, it's because you couldn't keep him. Do you think your nonsense will be believed?" Ningxi deliberately prolonged her tone. "Oh, should we give it a try then? Otherwise, let me expose some of my past, shall we? In this vast sea of people, I still can't find the whereabouts of those 2 gigolos you bribed. Maybe publicly searching for them could bring unexpected gains?" This time, Ning Xuelua's face completely changed, almost screaming, "Ningxi, you lunatic." She wasn't afraid that Ningxi would be reckless in trying to compete with her for status or a man. What she feared the most was that Ningxi would disregard everything and try to take her down. Hee. Watching Ning Xuelua pale in fear, Ningxi couldn't help but chuckle. She casually patted her on the shoulder with a relaxed expression. "Miss Ning, don't worry. It's just a joke. Someone like you, a scum, isn't worth my going down with you." At this point, Ningxi's nonchalant gaze suddenly turned icy. She lowered her voice, sounding like a devil crawling out of hell as she whispered in Ning Xuelua's ear, "However, if you ever try to threaten me with that matter again, I can't guarantee that I won't lose control and do something. Using your teammates' words, even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. Unlike that useless bag of grass, Jiong, who just talks big. I'm different." Ningxi finished speaking and released Ning Xuelua's shoulder, confidently walking away. Ning Xuelua, who had failed to make a threat, was now being threatened herself. As soon as Ningxi left, she instantly collapsed on the ground, her face turning dark. She then kicked the door heavily. No, she must find a way to deal with Ningxi. As long as Ningxi existed, everything she had could disappear at any moment. She absolutely would not allow such a thing to happen. After leaving the company, Ningxi, who had nothing much to do in the afternoon, decided to visit a shopping mall. She had promised to help Little Treasure buy some clothes. The thought of Little Treasure instantly brightened her mood, and she happily went shopping. Arriving at the mall, Ningxi headed straight for the children's clothing section. All she could see were various styles of children's clothes. Ningxi felt like she had taken chicken blood as she plunged headlong into the shopping spree. Usually, when she bought clothes for herself, she would be crazy, but buying clothes for Little Treasure was a different kind of happiness. Thinking about Little Treasure, the memories that used to suffocate her were now replaced by thoughts of the adorable little guy. The items in this mall were all from big brands and generally expensive. Children's clothes were no exception, but since it was for Little Treasure, she didn't mind spending. Saving a few sets of cosmetics would be enough. Today, Ningxi was wearing a dress designed by a relatively unknown but favorite designer of hers. Although it was beautiful, it couldn't compare to the appeal of a big brand logo. The shopping assistants usually preferred to serve wealthy-looking customers, so they ignored Ningxi and were instead following closely behind a lady dressed head to toe in Chanel. Ningxi wandered around, and in the end, she found a set of clothes that she really liked. It was a bright blue little suit. The color was eye-catching, and there was an adorable Superman logo on the chest. Most importantly, she had many clothes with Superman elements, and they could wear matching parent-child outfits anytime. Suddenly, the words, parent-child outfits, flashed in her mind, and Ningxi felt a slight tremor in her heart. She realized that the feeling of wanting to give the best to someone, similar to being in love, was also the feeling when treating her own child. Ningxi fell into silent contemplation for a while before regaining her senses. Then, she looked for an assistant and said, "Miss, I want this set. Please pack it for me." The shopping assistant didn't respond immediately. Instead, she reminded Ningxi with a cold tone, "This set costs 12,000. I know. I've seen the price tag. Please pack it for me." The shopping assistant's expression improved a bit, and she even smiled gently. "Do you want it to be packed as a gift?" Before Ningxi could respond, a hand wearing a jade bracelet suddenly reached over and snatched the clothes. "Oh, this one looks nice. I'll take it."